can I help you?
Who am I speaking with? Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello, it's your voice. Hello?
Yeah, who am I speaking with, please?
Please, this is Officer Steve Adams,
From
Social Security Investigation Department.
Social Security Investigation Department. You just called my house a little while ago. And what are you referencing regarding my spousal Social Security?
Okay, we have received a notice from the law enforcement agency to suspend your Social Security number on an immediate basis. So that is the reason you have received the call.
You received a what? I didn't understand you. You have a
We have received a notice from the law enforcement agency to suspend your Social Security number.
you received a notice from the law enforcement to suspend my Social Security number? Is that correct? And what do I need to do in order for that not to happen?
I'll explain you further. Can you let me verify your Social Security number?
I need to verify my Social Security number?
Yes,
And who are you? You are calling from what location?
New York.
New York, New York State?
Yes.
And can you give me your name and more information? Hello? That's the Social Security fraud that's happening around the country right now. Wherever that person is calling from, God only knows where and who, but that's what they're doing. That's how they're scamming people out of any kind of benefit money they can. He was a police officer from New York. Well, yeah, first he said police officer, then it was, well, you can hear it for yourself. And then when he was asked for information regarding himself, regarding his full name and other information, there goes the telephone call. I guess he sort of figured out that he was also being taped. But I don't think he realizes he was live being taped. There you have it. I'm Royal Alice. And that's how scammers should be handled. But we need to have an enforcement agency team that literally goes after them immediately for performing such acts, which is what I have to do right now with Eversource Electric Company and the Community Action Program as of yesterday. Getting my Royal Parish, St. Peter's involved. I had my Royal Priest get involved, and he contacted them for a $2,600 electric bill for the year, whereby my electric was being stolen through a contracting illegal connection that was done here in the complex where I live, and the people living on the ceiling, which is upstairs over me, were stealing my electricity. My electricity was connected to theirs, so they were not really paying anything for electricity because it was being paid on my bill. And all they did all winter, even in 0-degree temperature, is they had heat going, the air conditioning going and all lights all day and all night. Air conditioning in 0 degree temperature, literally all day and all night. Lights on all day and all night, and the heat all day and all night. And this is an all electric complex. And in contacting Eversource, it was found that the paperwork filed on November 20th, 2018, with the Community Action Program, which is how it's done here in Connecticut, in order to access the matching program and the forgiveness program for helping out those who have an income that will not cover, that's incapable of covering their full electric costs, were not filed by the person who was the representative for receiving all of my paperwork, my application, and it was never sent to Eversource. And therefore, there was no filing of papers and any documentation as they were given for the year 2018 to cover 2019. And because it's done in the fall to get prepared for the winter. And Eversource has no records of that ever being done. And I now have to go back to them and provide them with all of the copies that I have of the work that was done, to have not the person who did it, but the manager, Stephanie Grant, was the person who did it. Refile those papers, and then they have to credit my my account with all of what they were supposed to do from the beginning. And my bank got involved because they asked for additional documentation, which hadn't even been generated from the bank, regarding my accounts. And the bank couldn't understand why that was being requested, nor could I, because it never had been before. And but the bank generated it and made records of it, so that if there was a problem, that they would sure have the documentation against the Community Action Program for doing such fraudulent behavior. And so that was done. Plus, they needed a copy of a system that we have in Connecticut called a rent rebate. They needed a copy of that check, and that was never done before. And that was, no one could understand why they needed that. And none of this documentation went into the company. Okay, and it's assumed that someone here in the complex has received my information on their apartment, their house apartment, and they're receiving my discount information or my program on their system. And so it has to do with persons here in the complex, plus the illegal activity regarding the contracting, which also turned out to be a danger because there was too much currency on my system, and my oven at any time could have gone kaput. That means an explosion. And it showed that on the oven. And it took them 1.5 years to give me a new oven, or maybe 2. I don't know how long. And it was a long time. And the Eversource indicated yesterday that they couldn't understand why. They couldn't understand why it occurred, because it had been submitted properly and everything was done properly every year before 2018. So they gave my royal priest the procedures to follow, and that needs to be done. But in the interim, I was suffering and living in a dangerous situation because Eversource never sent anyone out to check the danger of the connection of the electricity. And so each and every day I had to turn off the circuit breaker for that and turn it on when I needed to use it until the complex ordered and installed a new oven stove. But as a result, and that was not done, I suppose, properly, because it seemed like every 3 months they were having a new management personnel in the office here, and because there was a lot of corruption going on there as well, with extortion and claiming that people weren't paying their rent and charging them exorbitant late fees and all that kind of stuff. And my account became one of them. I'm still trying to work out one part of my account with having paid over water and sewage each year. And for 2 years, I haven't gotten that resolved yet. But finally, the rent of their not complying with the state and federal laws was resolved, and my rent situation was resolved there. So this was all going on at the same time. Okay. And I do believe by the same people who connected themselves in every aspect of things of that nature, including the office here. So that was the story. Okay. And so that's what I'm faced with. And that's what many people are being faced with, because yesterday I found that other people were faced with the same dilemma. Okay. And they had an exorbitant electric bill, and or they had paid their electric bill, and there was a claim. They were claiming that they had never received payments on their electric bill. Back in a minute. This is some of the paperwork from my royal priest, instructions of procedures that he was given yesterday. This is the documentation that was filed at the Community Action Program on, here's the date here, signed on the 20th of November when the appointment was scheduled. This is, oh, it wasn't Stephanie Grant, it was Stephanie Henry. There's the signature of the person. Who received the documentation and dated. There's the name of the agency. And here is the verification that it needed more information. Regarding finalizing my my application work. Here is the, I want to show my information. Here is the documentation from the bank, dated. They are receiving it. That is the program, CAP program. And that's the bank. That received the information. And that is what I have to go through. And that's it. They also requested a copy of that rebate. I did take that to them. I'm looking for that date and stamp. That's in the other folder. That's in the other folder. This is all from 2018. And that's what they're doing. As a result of it, they sent this. Where is it? Other. They're not, as of the law, they cannot send a notice of turnoff between the months of November and May 1st for a turnoff. And no information was received from them regarding my program until May 18th. And this is what the letter states. That's from Eversource. I'm doing this to cover my account number. Doing it that way. And this came on the same day as as a turnoff notice was received on the same day as my bill was received. Bill was received. I want to show my account number. Bill was received. On the same day as this. And that's called a shut-off notice, which I have never received in my life. So there you have it. I'm from row 2, and that's what I get as a result of it. Being the poor relations, being born from a monarchy and America, of course, and being poor relation as a result of it. That's what it's called. So that's what you got. That's the story. You have a blessing and say prayers out there, everyone. And you know the rest. If you follow me on YouTube, you know exactly what I complete with. Okay? And I'm not in the mood to complete it today. So you have a blessing and say prayers to roll God and roll heaven out there. Okay? That's commencement, which is all felons. And where is this remote? Here.
This week, we commemorate the extraordinary courage and sacrifice of those who gave their lives for our liberty on D-Day 75 years ago. As leaders prepare to gather here from across the world, it is fitting that we begin with a celebration of the special relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States, enduring partners who stood side by side on that historic day and every day since. For generations, at the heart of the transatlantic alliance has been our shared democratic values, our common interests, and our commitment to justice. It is that unity of purpose that will preserve the deep-rooted ties between our people and underpin our nation's security and prosperity for the next 75 years and beyond.
Last night,
just as it was on the beaches of Normandy 75 years ago. Mr. President.
well, thank you, Prime Minister May. Melania and I are honored to return to London as our nations commemorate the 75th anniversary of D-Day in World War II. We want to thank Her Majesty the Queen, who I had a lovely dinner with last night, a fantastic person, fantastic woman, for so graciously inviting us to this state visit. It was very, very special. Our thanks as well to Prime Minister and Mr. May for the warm welcome they've given the First Lady and me, as we remember the heroes who laid down their lives to rescue civilization itself. On June 6, 1944, tens of thousands of young warriors left these shores by the sea and air to begin the invasion of Normandy and the liberation
And that's what
of Europe and
is still going
Nazi
on.
occupation.
Like
It was a
this,
liberation like
that
people have
occurred, the
seen
crucifixion.
before. Among
It's still
them,
going
more than
on.
130,000 American and British brothers in arms. Through their
What
valor and
occurred
sacrifice,
there
they secured our homelands and saved
Europe,
freedom for the world.
That was
Tomorrow, Prime Minister
take
May and
over
I
the
will
entire
attend a
world
commemoration ceremony in Portsmouth,
in worshiping
one of
Satan,
the key embarkation
to
points
exterminate
for the invasion.
anything and everything that had to do with
1.5 million American
the Royal
service
Father,
members were stationed right
the
here
Royal
in
Son,
England in
the
advance
Royal
of
Holy
the
Spirit,
landings that
the
summer.
Royal God
The
of
bonds
all,
of friendship
of
forged
Royal Heaven,
here
in Royal
and
Heaven,
sealed in blood on those
in Royal Heaven,
hollow
of Royal Heaven.
beaches will
That was
endure
Hitler
forever.
and all about
Our
all
special
about him.
relationship is grounded in common
Game
history,
and plan.
values, customs, culture, language, and laws.
And he came close to pulling it off. They
Our
came
people
close
believe in
to
freedom
pulling
and
it off.
independence,
And they still
as a
exist.
sacred birthright,
Here,
a cherished inheritance worth
they
defending.
are blackfaces, we call them now. We have a new term for
As the
it.
Prime Minister and I
Blackface,
discussed in our
and they're doing the same
meetings
thing right here in this
today and
complex.
yesterday,
And they
the United
come in
States
other
and the
faces as
United
well, other
Kingdom share
nationalities.
many
Whatever
goals and
nationality
priorities around the
they
world.
figure they can get away
I
with
want to
it.
thank the people of the United Kingdom
And it's
for
really
their
going
service and
on.
partnership in
So
our
that's what,
campaign
and scams
to
of all
ISIS.
kinds
As
is
we
how
announced a few
Hitler
months ago,
scammed
ISIS
to
has
begin
turned
with
to a
Germany
caliphate in
to
Syria
become
and Iraq,
what he became.
has been completely
And then took upon,
obliterated.
soon after, once he had
The United
acquired
Kingdom
what he needed,
is
because he
also
was
key partner
a
in NATO.
poor,
The Prime
and
Minister
no one
I
knows
agree that our
really,
NATO allies must increase
but if
their
you study the
defense
history,
spending.
you'll
We've
know
been
what he
working
really was.
very hard toward that end, and we are very current. And
That dressed
some
up
of them are not. We can't allow that
as
to
his
happen.
mother.
But I appreciate everything you've done in that regard. We expect a growing number of nations to meet the minimum 2% of GDP requirement. To address today's challenge,
And it's still happening. An undisclosed silent socialism, conspiratorial in many different ways. It's occurring, and it's occurring from the worst corners of the world, America, to the most powerful. It's happening, and there's only one person that's going to end it all. And I just showed you his picture, and I'll show it again. The Royal Jesus, now in Royal Heaven of Royal Heaven, came as the Royal Son of God, the Royal Son of Man, the Royal Father, the Royal Son, and the Royal Holy Spirit. He shall end it all. When he decides, just like he did Sodom and Gomorrah and places like it,